I just called, just to let you see what I look at. I just called CPS, to try to protect my 11-year-old daughter and my phone. It's just the corruption is just insane. So he claimed his name was Chewie. Employee ID 5270, trying to start arguments and covering for the crimes. So I paid this phone bill and it's limited usage. So everyone that I call is not going to be helpful. But I do it when I go in person, it's still the same corruption. You just have to see it to believe it. For a long time, I said, you know what? I can't believe that this corruption is this huge. It's not really happening. Oh, no, it is. There's a lot of things I can't talk about because I don't think people would believe me. It's really going to make me sound mentally ill. But that's the intent. Things are done so I can be harassed, and also it frames me for mental illness. It's like a one-stop shop. You get both things done. We can terrorize her and do these things, and then when she reports it, it's going to sound mentally ill, so we'll get away with it, and we frame her even more. Who's going to believe that I'm calling all these counterfeit people on my phone? But all you have to do is listen to the calls, and they get caught in lies themselves. You just have to wait for it. So I've already made 20 unproductive calls, called the police department. They are covering for the abuse of my kids. I'm not quite really sure of what exploited means, but I thought the term exploited is what she's going through, because out of corruption, they're violating my child custody rights. I'm supposed to be the 255th. CPS got involved. When they incriminated themselves too much, then they put the stepmom up to doing it. The dad's like special needs and don't really know what's going on because he had a heart attack. Shortly after she was born, a couple years, maybe like 5-6 years after she was born, maybe 7. So he's not anyway. So stepmom's running everything, even has power of attorney over him, lying and going along with the scheme. But the court's covering for him. A couple times she wouldn't go to court. And if she didn't go to court, they had to throw it out, but the court covered for her. And when she didn't go to court, wouldn't let me appear and kept rescheduling it and covering for the stepmom. So I called CPS multiple times, like 20, done multiple reports. I don't know who I'm calling. I went to CPS off Mockingbird. The police showed up. Other locations, they said that I have to use a special CPS worker that has a mobile location that moves and has a state-issued cell phone. I didn't believe it because she kept calling me, starting arguments. When he was mad, she said, you lose your daughter. And I kept saying she's getting violated out of abuse. These charges are dismissed, so-and-so, so-and-so. She started arguments and was rude and covered for it. Very abusive CPS worker. So I went to Tyler Police Department, told them about what was going on. I also told Cass County, and my civil rights were being violated from my other child that at the time was 16. He's saying I don't remember whether he was 15 or 16, but that's how long it's been going on. They violated my rights. I let him live. The coach said that he was going to help him get scholarships, let him stay up there for a little bit. And I said, well, let me see how it goes. And the coach didn't do anything that he said that he was going to do. When I let him move up there with my aunt, they withheld my child custody. I called the police department. They covered for it. So 2 kids' child custody rights were hindered. In Cass County, they covered for it. And with my daughter in Dallas. So I tried everything I could do. They threatened to take me to jail for trying to report the child abuse with my son. Then they gave me criminal trespass at his school because I just came up there to try to see him because I couldn't see him any other way. So they gave me a criminal trespass at his school, and I was a legal custodial parent. I talked to someone who claimed Roy Barker said he was internal affairs. Roy Barker claims that he forwarded over to the DA. Nothing was done. And I told them I wanted to press charges on the person he was living with and the school for violating my civil rights as a parent, and when I tried to withdraw him because my child custody rights were getting violated. So they wouldn't let me withdraw him and gave me a criminal trespass so I couldn't come back for my own legal custodial child. So then, meanwhile, they were also hindering the child custody rights away from my daughter. Get this picture. I'm the legal custodial parent. The police will not investigate because they're covering for it. The courts will not do anything. I keep calling CPS. I go to CPS. And they're scheming and threatening to take me to jail for trying to report child abuse. And I have been taken to jail and detained for trying to report child abuse. You tell me how sick that is. And if someone has enough power to manipulate that with a mental illness, how dangerous is that? When you let a person that has this power but is not wrapped too tight manipulate these schemes and concoct them and then fulfill them, is that a threat to national security? There's a lot of things that I'm scared to talk about because I think that people would not believe me. So I just can't talk about them. But to make a long story short, there's a lot of damage that I think he's behind. But I can't prove it. But I know people in the government, the ones that want to save their own lives, because I don't know how bad it can get. He likes to hurt a lot of people and don't care about sacrificing others. He's one of these people. He kind of reminds me of similar of Manson with the, I mean, I don't know what I'm saying Manson, and I probably am a little bit, I'm saying that because he has this God, he thinks he's God, and he doesn't mind hurting a lot of people to fulfill those desires and to be God. He likes the control. So he really doesn't care who he has to hurt, even himself. So he doesn't see anyone else outside of these schemes and violating me. Everyone falls prey. So anyway, that's what happened. CPS hung up in my face and covered for it. And this shelter may put me out because he controls everyone. And when I try to have a relationship with my kids and other people, he doesn't take that lightly. I really get violated because I want to have relationships with people and my kids. I miss them. And I take very seriously that law enforcement and all these people enforce that I don't see my kids and get upset with me and intimidate me and violate me over seeing my own kids that I birthed. And it's not, I'm the legal custodial parent and they don't care. They will not investigate and enforce it and threaten to take me to jail and have. And it's still going on. I'm still in it. I can't report my abuse or my kids' abuse. And Lord knows what this shelter's going to do when he's upset. Well, that's what happened today. I called CPS on the phone, and that was a employee ID, and the name he claims is Chewie. And he covered for it and hung up, and I don't know who I'm talking to.